Really nice.
The flavored one?
Yeah.
Pascal.
Okay.
Oh. Do you?
Yeah,
You want
maybe
to go
like
to
a-
my, you want to pick my spot?
It's a 3-day, it's so nice and short. Yeah. Memorial Day.
Okay. Oh, Memorial Day.
Wait, no, I'm doing Labor Day in the fall. It's like.
Oh, okay.
He's great. I heard him on some apps, so I need to help him. But then realized he's either in person, and I thought, no, I took it in high school, so I can understand.
Do you want me to look it?
Yeah. It's like sitting in the group.
Yeah, it's great. Talking about, sorry. No, you're good.
Multiple words, multiple
So many.
Alice's, multiple words. So good. I feel very Chiefs fans alone up here right now. Wow, how is everyone? Weather is life changing, isn't it? It's like just a week ago, it's like this is never gonna end. Impermanence does not exist. And then all of a sudden it's like, ah, sun comes out. Love it. Okay. Well, we're working on a new platform tonight, so we're gonna see how that goes for the people who are on it. No, you're fine, Jeff. The camera's off the side. You'd be ready.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, I like to do a little check-in, just like a brief check-in at the beginning here. So maybe we could, I know this is striking fear maybe into those of you who are newer or to those of you who are heavily introverted, but especially because we have some new faces in here tonight. Maybe sharing names, pronouns if you prefer, and just yeah, maybe just sensing in like 1 to 3 words of what's happening right now for you. No pressure. That's it. Just sharing about that. Can you start? Sorry. Pressure's on.
I'm Steve, and I love the spring.
I'm David, and I feel like discombobulated.
I'm Ashley, and I recently made a choice to completely unpack my life. And I'm both loving it and it's like,
My name's Michael, and a bit overwhelmed, let's say. Discombobulated also works.
Is it overwhelmed because we get to be in each other's company again?
Yes.
So long.
How did you know?
I know.
Yeah, no, all the people here, how they used to, all the people, sober.
She heard, and yeah, I feel like I'm still just like sort of shaking out for like zombiness of the computer job. Jobs like
I'm Tyler. I'm searching for new reorientation.
it's me, and I'm feeling for a broken foot, so I can finally start walking again. I'm really excited. I'm Tara. There's a lot of change happening in my life right now. There's change, so I'm just trying to reverse it all.
I'm blessed. I'm happy to be back. I had to be away a month or more. Glad to be back.
Jeff, Keegan. I've been away for a while too, so I'm happy to be here. I'm feeling, I'm also going through a work change, and I'm feeling refreshed.
I'm Laura, she, her. This is my first time here, and it's wonderful to be with my friend Liza. And I have recently returned home, and so that feels very good on a beautiful spring evening in this beautiful space. It just sort of feels like the time of my life. It's really great.
I'm Laura, they, she, and yeah, just been running around a little today and the last week. So just, yeah, maybe not, I don't know if I would go so far as discombobulated necessarily, but definitely feeling like sped up.
I'm Court, and I am today. And yeah, I'm happy to see all of you. Truly, it like really always makes my Wednesday night to be able to sit with friends and how great is this? We've got cross breeze, we have beautiful lights. We're just gonna enjoy some time. So let's spend a few minutes dropping in, and then I'll just share a little bit. And I kind of think of this like, what, for myself, the pressure of like a Dharma talk is too much. So please don't think of this as a Dharma talk. Just think of this as like just a little reflection of practice, and maybe there's a few things that might be helpful for you also. You know, the Dharma is really everywhere, and it's unavoidable. And so really any part of our experience is a part of that exploration with those eyes. So just finding a comfortable seat. I know, especially like this time of year and coming in, and this is a new space for all of us. You know, Laura and I have only been in this space for going on 3 weeks now, beginning of 3 weeks. And so yeah, there's just a little bit of like orienting, and that's happening for all of us. So if you're new here and you're kind of feeling like you're orienting as well, that's wonderful. We're all in the same boat. So that's perfect. All right, so you can just allow yourself to be very comfortable. It's really comfortable. And that might mean for you that the eyes are closed. It might mean for you that the eyes are open. I often find that taking a few deep breaths is really helpful, or maybe swaying a little bit at the beginning or throughout. Really allowing yourself to settle into this body as it is right now, to settle into the breath as it is right now, to the mind as it is right now, the emotional state as it is right now. So often things feel not exactly to our preference. We can forget the simplicity of this practice, and it feels overcomplicated. So just very gently inviting the mind to touch into those contact points of the body. So feeling the seat on whatever you're sitting on, or feeling the back of the body if you're lying down. Just noticing what it is to touch into this place that feels heavy, stable, solid. And truly allowing this invitation to just rest, to receive. We settle into the body, we settle into the posture. We receive the knowing of the breath, or a sound. We receive the sensation of air on the skin. Or the body moving in some way. Into this felt sense of the body. Knowing that we have a body. And within that experience of being in the body, you might sense the skin, the touch that happens through that sense door. And maybe the felt sense of breath. You might know the felt sense of hearing. The eyes are open, or you might play with maybe opening the eyes for just a moment, sensing the light through the eyelids, just knowing, seeing. Maybe allowing there to be a knowing of smelling. And really lightly just checking in, is tasting available? today of just sitting back. Resting back and allowing whatever is obvious to arrive in awareness, right? To just arrive in this present moment. Just knowing for you, maybe the felt sense of the seat on the chair, the cushion, is really supportive, and it just feels good to stay with that. It's lovely. Maybe for you, hearing is really accessible. The sense of the breath. Just resting, letting whatever's obvious be obvious. You don't have to look for anything, go searching anywhere for deeper meaning. Meaning changes, perspective, perception changes as we come into contact with reality. It's only ever happening one moment at a time. So you might notice, sometimes I like to really play with this, but you might notice that sound. And just notice kind of like, how does that land for you? Is there like a, oh, thank God moment? Or is it like a, oh man, just get into it? Or like, oh, I don't know, there's any number of like different responses that we can have to anything that comes into awareness. And so sometimes just simple things like that, where we are a little more still, a little more quiet, and we just hear the sound of the bell, which signals an ending. It's like, oh. Or does it signal the beginning? Okay, so realized this morning I came in and I'm going to really out myself right now of how I tend to work in ways that are maybe not super efficient, but I have been working on putting this curtain up that divides the space, which thankfully many of you can't see. For those of you who can, you'll notice that it has absolutely zero support. And that is because I built it from the top down instead of from the bottom up. And that is something that it's just so common that we do that, right? I was thinking of this morning when I was like looking at it and I'm like, oh man, I gotta redo this. I have to redo it. There's like 2 support posts that are supposed to be on the side. Like I tried to put it up like a tension rod, even though those curtains weigh probably like 100 pounds. So I really don't know what my thought process was with that at the moment. when it was happening, but it was like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw this up there. And you know, we do that a lot with meditation too, or with anything. Like obviously I teach yoga as well, and we kind of start from this very top-down approach of like wanting to know all the answers to something without actually implementing the practice that will help us discover the thing. And that is why I talk so much about awareness as a practice. Okay, so awareness, mindfulness, I'm using those terms interchangeably. So I recognize that for some of you, and myself included, kind of like depending on the mood, any amount of content around this practice can feel overwhelming because it's like confusing, you know, we're like, what is awareness? Like, what is that? How do I sense that? What does that have to do with anything? Where is it leading? Why would I do it if I don't know where it's going to lead to? You know, if I don't know what the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow. And yet, the only way that we really kind of start to sense that is by actually doing the practice. When it starts to feel complicated is when there's a lot of thinking happening and we don't really recognize that there's a lot of conceptual stuff going on, a lot of like the mind is wrapped around something and we don't really see it. We just assume that the thing itself is quite complicated. So very foundational this evening. And the thing that I've really found over time, the many years of practicing this, is that the very beginning always serves the whole way through. And it becomes more and more profound, just that practice of knowing where attention is becomes more and more profound the more momentum builds with it. So I was pointing to in this opening meditation these 6 sense doors that we have. So we have, of course, touch, we have taste, hearing, seeing, smelling. Was that 5 that I made? And then we have the 6th sense of awareness. So in Indian traditions, which Buddhist path is an Indian tradition, okay, we consider the mind as the 6th sense door. And the quality of mind, so just like the ear is a sense door and hearing happens, the mind has many different things that can happen with it, right? And one of those things that can happen is that it can be aware. It can also ruminate, it can think a lot, it can doubt, it can, remember, it can process, it can go through a lot of different things. Okay, but the quality that helps us the most is that it can be aware, it can be mindful, of what's happening at the same time. And in this practice, what we start to see, and what is really actually quite revolutionary about it, is that anything that is happening through any of those 5 sense doors, and even thinking, we can be aware of. It's mediated by the mind. It's so cool. Like it's so cool. And so then this is where we start to see these kind of foundations of mindfulness as they're laid out in the early Buddhist text called Satipatthana Suttas. So we see that there's just these 6 sense doors. And there's a big teaching about this with the Buddha, right? He taught this many times, these 6 sense doors. And just knowing these 6 sense doors is the practice. That's knowing the body, right? That's awareness of the body. And the body is always in the present. So that's why it's such a beautiful resource for us to be able to touch into. Like, am I aware right now? Am I mindful right now? Oh, that's right, I have a body. Oh, God, there's a breath. Oh, I have hands. Sometimes it's like, I'll get really sped up or really lost in thought, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, that's right, I have a foot. Oh, check it out, I have legs. Oh my God. It just hits again, oh, there it is. Wow. So it's a great resource that we continue to develop. And the wonderful thing is that I'm sure most of you, if not all of you in this room, have body awareness to some degree, you know? We all brush our teeth, we all walk, at least in this room. We're all sitting. So at any point, we can touch into any of those kind of very simple things. And then we start to see over time that when there's some kind of contact with the sound of the bell, is that pleasant? Do you like that sound? Okay, so whether you like the sound, you don't like the sound, how do you know? How do you know that you like it? Is there some kind of sensation in the body happening? Do you not like it? Is it changing? Is it annoying you now? And if so, how do you know? How do you know? Is there something happening in the body? Right? So we can sense that kind of like immediate gut feeling response. It's called Vedana. And that's only one of these three things. It's either pleasant, it's unpleasant, or it's neutral. Really simple. And you know, I just, yeah, did I like that? Did I not? Or did it just kind of like pass by? Awesome. And we start to see that like all of this, as I said, is mediated through the processes of the mind. So of course, having preference of some sort means that that thing, that contact that's happened, the sound, or maybe the anticipation of the sound, is happening in the mind. That's not just the body receiving sound. Does this make sense? Okay. Yeah, it's mediated through the mind. And so there's many different things that are happening in the mind. The mind in this context is also equated to the parts of the chitta, right? And so emotions are in the mind, thought patterns are in the mind, the runaway train of rumination is in the mind, preferences, you know. So when we find something pleasant, we like it. Oh, we like it. That's a preference. That's an opinion. It's a thought might come up. We don't like it. Ugh, get it away. That's a preference. We don't want it. Get it away. You know, that's a thought. And so we feel this proliferation of whatever the processes of the mind are. Right? And I feel like even just breaking it down in this way, if it's not like immediately landing in this moment, upon reflection of maybe like another moment in your life, you might be able to remember where you were like, oh yeah, that's right. I was watching the ocean and it was so lovely. And the sun was over the water. It was amazing. The colors were so beautiful. And then the sun started to set and I felt sad. I felt sad about that sunset going away because it was changing. Oh, I like it. And you knew that that was happening, right? And so now we're just framing experience. This isn't like stuff, it's not like a map of something that you have to go and like treasure hunt for. This is just a frame for the experiences that we're having, right? It's describing stuff that's already happening. And then finally, we can also be aware of what's known as the dhammas. So these are anything like, oh, feeling of joy that's arising, this kind of meditative joy. You know, we've been resting, and maybe that's in a seated position, or maybe it's in shavasana, or maybe it's when you first wake up in the morning and the mind feels kind of clear. The covers are really cozy. This is one of my favorite places to meditate is in bed. I call it meditation. And I love it. I'm very cozy in my comforter. The cat has not started meowing at me yet. Laura is passed out. The birds starting to chirp. And the demand of the day has not yet entered into the mind. It's like, oh, there's such a simplicity here, such a simple joy. And also we can know that, and like we can start to feel like, oh, as I feel into that joy, as I feel into that just enjoyment of this space, that starts to grow a little bit. Or maybe it starts to change, and then there's some anticipation about like, oh no, busy day today. Make 500 Instagram posts. I have to return a bunch of emails. Oh no, I have to weed the whole garden, do lots of things, figure out my life, and then we feel anxiety start to creep up. So dhammas are they're a big category. We don't need to worry about them. We talk about them a lot, and like, just don't stress about it. They could be anything from doubt to joy to tranquility to some amount of confidence arising, anything along those lines. So this is all shorthand. The way that I see these foundations of mindfulness is that anything in your experience you can learn to be aware of. It's great. And it was like the Buddha just kind of listed all of these different things and put them into different categories. Because this is an oral tradition, lists were much easier to remember and songs were much easier to remember, chanting was easier to remember than, having stuff sewn into literal leaves and passing those around. That sounds pretty delicate. Can't really throw that in the mail. Oh, pass it around. And the lists are helpful, but you don't have to worry about it. Anything in your experience you can know. Okay, so this practice of awareness. So it's like, for some of you, this is old hat, and you feel very confident in this. And for others of you, it might be new. So I'd like to just bring one hand up. Just one hand up. And just sense the hand. Sense it. And do you know that you have a hand? And then how do you know that you have a hand? It's not meant to be a riddle, but just like what's obvious about this that you're like, oh yeah, there's a hand here, there's an appendage here. And then just slightly moving the hands side to side or up and down, and just going slowly. And just feeling those sensations change. Right? Noticing how the mind can track those sensations, whatever that is. Maybe you're making a little fist. Rolling the wrist, maybe you're weaving a little bit. Maybe you're looking at the hand. Okay, and then let's release the hand down and just kind of feel the aftertaste of that. So this very subtle trace of the mind still being aware, and maybe it's picking up some hearing, maybe it's picking up the sensation of the seat on the cushion, maybe it's aware of like, I don't know. I don't know is something that can be known too. I don't know what's going on right now. Confusion. I go around confused a lot. I don't know. And it's like, okay, so you don't know. So what does I don't know feel like? Any part of our experience we can sense awareness. So one of the most helpful things that my teacher has shared, and I am from the IMS and Spirit Rock lineage and traditions, but more specifically in the Sayadaw U Tejaniya style of practice. And he phrases it in a really beautiful way. There's three things, three jobs of a yogi, and that's it. Are you ready for them? Very simple. Have wise view. Okay? Everything that we experience is nature. It's happening of its own accord. We can be aware of anything. So all of this that's going on, the mind doing the mind's thing, fine. That's just the nature of the mind as it is right now. The mind can change, just like the weather can change outside. When we're a little bit stuck in it, when we feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening right now, I'm lost, like I have to figure a lot of stuff out. That's maybe like a bit of a stormy day. That's like February in practice. Now it's gray, few and far between on the sunshiny days, let stay inside. And then all of a sudden there's a sunshiny day and it's like, oh, that's right, it changes. Okay. Lovely. Oh, we're in a new season now. So everything that we experience is nature, right? This is the greatest illusion. This is the word vidya, or ignorance, right? That inability to recognize that we are nature. We inherently are nature. We are made of the same stuff as the rest of the stuff that's around us. We're even made partially of plastic now. Isn't that great news? a whole plastic spoon is in you. We're all nature. I'm sorry if that's affects your anxiety. It's all nature, right? We are nature. We are of nature. And we are nature. Okay, so how do I view? The second job, be aware. So, are you aware right now? Right? Is awareness present? If you're like, I don't know. Okay. What is that? What is I don't know? How do you know that you don't know? Do you know you have a body? Do you know that there's breath? Do you know that there's some hearing? Very simple. Extremely simple. And sometimes awareness is like right there. Sometimes it's gone for a few minutes. Sometimes it's gone for a few days. Sometimes it's gone for weeks, months, years of our lives before we remember to be aware of it. That's fine. It doesn't really matter. As practitioners, we're just kind of continuing to turn the wheel a bit, right? We're continuing to remind ourselves to be aware so that continues. Third yoga job. So the first, have a feel. The second, be aware. Third, continue. Just continue. That's it. Remind ourselves, like, oh, whatever's here is nature. However the body is right now, nature. However the mind is right now, nature. And because it's nature, it's subject to change. It's inherently impersonal. You can influence it, it's out of your control. And you're just aware. Okay. So I really don't want to get too heady. I'm sorry if that seems heady, but just a little context, a little frame around practice. One thing that I found extremely helpful in the beginning was that question, am I aware? Am I aware? And then we can know, oh, how do I know? Okay, what's connected? For those of you who have a little more momentum built, you might notice what the quality of mind is receiving that awareness. So we can start to sense the underlying attitude of like, oh, there's some resistance here to that, or there's some like, I'm just not sure about that. And like, yes, there's a lot of like, okay, give me more. Or anything, it could be anything. Those are kind of two ends of the spectrum. We just know our experience. It's that simple. Does that sound simple? Sound complicated. It's just language, it's like we're all kind of translating this practice for ourselves. And so that's why it's so important that we just try. We just continue to try. And then you'll find the language inside for you. You'll find the words that work really well for you. But just remember, this is a natural quality. It's a natural quality. And we can learn to develop it more. So if you're not already sitting comfortable, we just continue our practice. We just continue as you are. The beautiful thing about mindfulness, about awareness, is that you can really, it's available in any position, it's available in stillness or movement. It's available in silence, in noise. And so again, we might invite just like a deeper breath or two, maybe just a little sway to the side, just to connect in again with the body. Find the inroad for yourself. Is that sensing into maybe a point of contact between your body, ground, or maybe the hands on the lap? Is it sensing into the breath? Allow yourself to rest there. So you simply know you have a body. There's going to be different things that happen within that body. There's going to be different sensations. The mind is within the body as well. There's going to be thinking. It's like, how do you know that you're thinking? And just says this amount of relaxation that's available to us, inviting that. Okay, I don't really have to do much. It doesn't take a lot of personal effort. And it's not that it's easy, it's that it's simple. It's natural that as sound arises at the ear door, okay, it's natural to notice that. It's natural that the mind is going to be thinking. Spent all day at work, years in school, lots of time trying to figure it out. mind things. That's what it does. Just with this really open, soft, receptive sense of knowing, sense of awareness. Just receive. Just receive one moment at a time. Just knowing your present experience. And it can be helpful to know that sometimes if there's something that we don't like, that's happening in our experience. For a lot of us, that can be confusion or overwhelm or anxiety, grief, doubt, anger, sadness. And we can feel like, oh, I'm not aware, I can't be aware. We can also just know how that feels in the body. But if that feels overwhelming in and of itself, that invitation, maybe just allow the body to rest, right? Allow the mind to rest, someplace that feels stable and steady. Just resting back, not trying too hard. where